Welcome and karibuni to Aroma of Zanzibar. Today I'm going to share with you how I'm making this delicious creamy seafood soup. So I'm going to start with the broth. I've got about 2 pounds of shrimps over here. You can use any type of shrimps that you have, any size. And this is how you remove the head and the rest of the body, the shell. All right, so I just put my thumb underneath here where the junction is, and you just push it down and it will just snap out just like that. It's very simple. Now for the rest of the shell, you can either use a knife. I prefer to use a scissors. And you're just going to cut it lightly, not too deep. And then release the shell from the top. And then you're going to pull it out by the tail. It's very simple. All right, it just releases like that. And then you're just going to remove the intestine. Sometimes it comes out with a shell, but I don't want it to because I don't want to cook that. All right. So the rest of the ingredients for this broth, I'm using some celery, some garlic, onion, and a carrot. Saffron that I'm going to make it into a nice fine powder. Now saffron is a very important ingredient in this soup because it's Bouillabaisse inspired. But if you just want to make a seafood soup, that's fine. It will taste good, but of course you'll be missing an element. All right, so we're going to heat this up for about 2 to 3 minutes on medium heat. I'm not trying to smoke this. I just want to heat it up so it's easy to crush it into a nice powder. All right, so you're just going to use whatever you have that can work. Just roll it like that or mash it, smash it, whatever. And as you can see, we're going to have a nice fine powder. And for my seafood, I'm using clams, which are pre-cooked. We're going to remove the shells. And also, I've got some white fish that I don't remember what I bought, but you can use any type of white fish, some mussels. And I bought a pre-cooked crab, which was a really bad idea. I don't know why, but I guess I just wanted to try. And over here in my pot, medium heat, I just added 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And we're going to put the shells and the head and the tails. And we're going to saute this for about 6 to 8 minutes. You want to saute until you get all those aromas, you release all those aromas, and believe me, you will smell them. Okay, then after that, I just add my carrots. And at this point, I increase the heat because I wanted the carrots to caramelize so I can get a little bit of sweetness out of those carrots. All right, so that went on for about 2 to 3 minutes. As you can see, nice, you can see the smoke out there. And then I add the onions and the celery. Now, if you don't have the celery, it's fine. I know most of you do not have celery wherever you live, so it's okay. All right, and then if you want your broth to have a little bit of color or maybe a little bit extra color, actually, or thickness, you can add tomato paste, maybe 1 tablespoon or so. And then I added about 6 cups of water and my fresh garlic, about 20 peppercorns, some bay leaf, and cloves, and some dry thyme if you have. If you don't have, it's fine. And we just simmer this for about 45 minutes to an hour. So I did mine exactly for 1 hour, and at this point I just turn off the heat and I use the potato masher to mash this down. Basically, I was trying to squeeze out all the juices, all the flavors from the vegetables and the shrimp shells, because this is where all the flavor comes from. And after that, we're just going to strain it. So this is so beautiful. As you can see, it's nice orange color. You can always add tomato sauce while you're sauteing, tomato paste, for an extra color that you want. Now this broth, you can use it for any of your seafood dishes, or even the paella that I did last week. You can use this broth to make the paella. All right, so we're going to squeeze this, get all those flavors out. You don't want to waste this. This is where all the flavors come from. So now I'm ready to make my roux. So I've got 3 tablespoons of butter and 3 tablespoons of flour. I should have let my butter melt first, but it's okay. It's a bad habit, but I tend to do it. So the thickness depends on how you want it. So whatever you decide to use, if you want to do 4, make sure the flour and the butter is the same ratio. All right. So we're going to saute this for a couple of minutes. Make sure that your heat is not too high because you don't want it to change the color, because when it changes the color, it changes the flavor. You just want to make sure that it's cooked. That's about it, all right? And also make sure that the broth, when it goes in, it's not hot, because you're gonna have a lot of lumps. So you want to have your roux hot and your broth cold, or the other way around. If your roux is cold, then you can have your broth hot. All right. So I started with 1 cup of my shrimp broth, and I just whisk it quickly to remove those. Mine was actually warm, but it's not supposed to be like that. I'm teaching you guys bad habits. So just whisk it quickly to remove all those lumps, and then we add another cup of the broth. Now, I don't remember how much cooked broth that I got, but I think it's about 4 cups. And then I added another cup of the broth, and then you just mix it. Then we put the whole thing and let it simmer for about 10 minutes, until it's really, really well cooked. You don't want to smell the raw flour. So while that's happening, I added the saffron and also 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, just for those extra flavors and aromas and the smokiness. And a little bit of cayenne pepper. That's for a little kick. It's not necessary. If you want, you can go ahead and do that. Then you're just going to mix this well and let it simmer for about 5 minutes, and then I'm ready to add my seafood. Now remember, all the seafood is pre-cooked, so this is the last stage of cooking, all right? So about, I got my crab there and my mussel, and you can use whatever seafood that you have or you're comfortable with. You don't have to use the same things that I use, or even the quantity. You can do whatever you prefer, all right? And then we just cook that for about 10 minutes, simmer it. Then some salt, a little bit of salt. The broth is full of flavor, so it really, really doesn't need so much salt. Just a little bit, okay? And then after that, towards my last bit, then we add the fish. You don't want to overcook the fish, so this is my last 4 minutes of cooking. I add the fish, and then you let it simmer for about 4 minutes, and then I used heavy whipping cream, about half a cup, this is a creamy soup, but if you want to make it your own without the cream, you can go ahead and do that if you don't want the cream or you don't have it. All right, so you don't want to boil the cream, you just want to bring it to a boil, but do not boil it, okay? Because it easily curdles, and we don't want that. So that's about it, and that's our wonderful soup. And this soup is best when it's served warm or hot, as you can see. So we're going to serve, and you can serve how much you want. This is for about 4 people. Anyway, thank you so much. For more recipes, please visit me at Aroma of Zanzibar, and you'll find all the measurements and the ingredients in the description box below.